Have you ever been scrolling through the Deepwoken update logs and seen a few weird patches that don't make any sense? For example, Exhaustion Strike was nerfed, and nobody really cared about that or asked for a nerf or requested anything. The devs are slowly changing the game, and it's a method that I'm going to call unnoticed reworks. They're basically manipulating the meta to what they want it to be without us really noticing. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, but it's really changing the environment of the game and making builds. First off, I'm going to talk about maps. We can all agree that Deepwoken is an RPG game, so why do the maps exist? At its whole, Deepwoken is a game where you explore all the different locations, NPCs, and monsters as you make a build. Maybe not as you get more experienced, but as you get more experience, you know where everything is. But for new players, the map gives away where everything in the game is. The devs try to counter this by making the islands gray and marked as unexplored until you arrive there for the first time. However, this doesn't fix the problem at all. See, the first time you step on an island, for example, the Hive Island, the whole thing is colored and is marked and explored, no matter where you were. And even if you've never been there before, you can still figure out how really easily. Just because the part of the map is marked as unexplored doesn't mean you can't find it. It's still perfectly outlined, and you can find where you are with the pointer, so whether it's explored or not, it doesn't matter. So how can the devs fix this? If they even want to. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose or not. Just have the whole map marked as unexplored with no outlines, and as you explore, the map fills in, but only with the places you've been. So, like, Starswest Valley won't fill in if you've only been to Fort Merritt, and etc. Kind of like how Castle Light, Diluvian Trial, and Chariot Spire are completely invisible without being there first, rather than there being an outline that you need to explore. This would make exploring the game still fun and random without having to get lost when you die and need to get back somewhere. You know where to go, but it doesn't give away the entire map for you. Okay, this is the main chunk of the problem. Shrine of Water. See, Shrine of Water has been changed countless times, from the original rework to just the tiny little things that seriously impact builds. For example, 2 out of the 6 main investment stats don't pair with Shrine of Water. Collapsed Lung is nerfed if you shrine, and Reinforced Armor is nerfed if you shrine. This influences people to go Agility, Willpower, Charisma, and Intelligence pre-shrine, which ends up with a lot of All the Dead God pre-shrine builds, which is just kind of like repetitive over and over and over. It's the same build. And as for Elemental Shrining, that's extremely complicated. Elemental stats when shrined are completely different than normal stats. Normal stats only lose 25, yet elemental stats go down to whatever number it takes to balance the stats out. This makes very strange and cancer builds, like Floor's Lava Crystallization 10,000 damage Eclipse Cake builds, with that still have Collapsed Lung. So to counter this, the devs removed the 10 HP on shrining high stats for elementals. That wasn't the problem. Now, instead of removing the concept of cancer builds, it was just slightly less tanky, despite the damage output having the same result. This is a huge problem, and it still has a simple fix. Just make elemental shrining the same as everything else. Bam, no more cancer builds. You go from 100 flame goes down to 75. I don't know why this was implemented, but it's seriously become an issue as more and more talents are being added to the game. It's actually awful. A really prime factor of unnoticed reworks is Gale Breathe. Gale gets constantly nerfed, but not for what makes Gale actually good. For example, they removed the champion's World Throw Hyper Armor, and it made Gale Hero Blade no longer instant posture break. And there have been plenty of other nerfs. Nobody complained about these before the nerf. See, what makes Gale so good is 2 things. First off, its combo potential is pretty insane, which can't really be fixed, but that's fine because it's pretty unique and fun. But also, it does way too much damage for what it's worth. That never got nerfed, ever. But these random things that make Gale worth playing are getting gutted. Everyone complained about the Hero Blade nerf when it was dropped, but the devs never listened to them. It wasn't busted to the point that it was unfair, but it was a unique critical compared to the other Hero Blades. The damage is still high, which is Gale's main problem, but instead of nerfing the actual damage, which was the root of the problem, similar to Shrine of Order, they just nerfed a completely irrelevant factor. Okay, let's talk about Flame Charm for a second. Like, come on. Flame Charm is the most requested thing in the entire game to get nerfed, but it never has been. Flame Charm has 2, arguably 3 paths, like Twisted Puppets, Arshan Path, and arguably Azure Flames. Way too many go to mantras. The game's best legendary, which might add the reason it was so good, was because the dev that added it, he hid it from the testers until its release. Anyways, it also has by far the most talents, the most diversity in builds, along with insane support capabilities and combat potential. countless times it's been requested to be nerfed, and it never has been. Okay, not ever. Not genuinely ever, but it's clear that the Flame Charmer is most favorited attunement, despite what Art says about Frost. That's another example that the devs are slowly changing the game without our input at all. Okay, as a whole, they are really changing the game. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose or not, but this is just some of the things that I've noticed, and it's really weird. And just keep your eye out for that, because it's kind of strange that they're doing all these random nerfs that nobody's really asking about. Take care, have a good day.